Hello! I'm Elaine, and I'm a tour guide in the French Quarter. I do ghost tours. And I am not going to tell you the stories that I tell on my tour, because you gotta pay for those. But if you want to hear some interesting things that have happened to me while I'm leading random drunk people around the French Quarter, I got you.
One thing I don't think I've addressed in these videos is the fact that every person I've ever met in my life has those days that just the words don't come out right. Like you open your mouth and what comes out of your mouth is not the word you were thinking. Sometimes it's not a word at all. Sometimes you stutter a little bit. Sometimes there's just a lot of uhs. Sometimes you're just sitting there going, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I don't know this word at this moment. And that's great. It's fine. Everyone has those moments. But when your job is literally talking to people live and not like a script, just talking to them, sometimes that is the worst feeling in the world because you're trying to sound learned, you're trying to sound educated, you're trying to sound like these people are, getting the edutainment they paid for. And you're sitting there going, it's a word that's like embargo, but for people in a town. Curfew! The word I'm looking for is a curfew! And it doesn't do great. And the reason I'm thinking about it right now is, yes, I had one of those nights tonight. And sometimes there's a distinct reason. Like tonight, I know what happened was I was doing the family-friendly tour, and I had a pair of incredibly cute, incredibly sweet, incredibly wiggly younger children that were just like running everywhere, doing cartwheels, like climbing things. And so about half of my attention at every single stop was just being like, are they in danger? Are they in danger? Are they in danger? Are they in danger? And therefore, I just didn't have a lot of brain power to focus on what I was actively saying at any given moment. And on top of that, that got into my head. And therefore, because I was thinking, hey, I'm having a bad word night, the second tour where there were no kids, I was still having a bad word night. But my favorite bad word night moment I've ever had on any tour was a night that had been already a little bit just like the words popped out of my head. And this was not one of those nights where there was a reason. It was just one of those nights that I'd open my mouth and go, oh, what's the name of this city that we're in? New Orleans! Yeah, that's it. And I had told an entire story. I had made it through to the end, and I'd gotten to the point where I asked, okay, guys, any questions? And one of my guests raised their hands and asked me what was the name of the general who took charge of New Orleans when we were taken by the Union during the Civil War. And I'd mentioned that name in the story, but now, at the end of the story, I had not the foggiest idea what the name was. And I was just sitting there being like, I have told this story probably at this point 1,000 times. I don't remember the guy's name. Like, what? Oh my god. And I tried to, bring it to my mind. I tried to, do anything. I tried to, quite often when I don't know an answer or can't think of an answer, I'll just fill in with other random bits of information that is tangentially related until I come up with the answer. Or until it looks like the guests have forgotten what they actually asked. But this time I did that and couldn't come up with anything. And I was just sitting there finally I just had to be like, I'm sorry. I can't remember at this moment. I know I told you 2 minutes ago, and now I physically cannot remember. It starts with an F, I'm pretty sure. And this tour continued. The guy looked at me like I was an absolute moron, but we continued the tour. And about halfway to the next stop, I suddenly shouted out the name. And why? Because I had spent the entire time we were walking to the next stop, as I was trying to chit-chat with my guests, I was in my head running through the stop from the very beginning until the point where I said the name in the stop, and my brain came up with it then. And needless to say, my guests were not impressed with me at that moment. I think I won them back over for the rest of the tour, but still not entirely sure. So, yeah, keep in mind, tour guides too occasionally just lose the ability to word.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out my book, Drunks of the French Quarter Theater, available on Amazon, bookshop.org, Barnes & Noble, pretty much wherever.